Welcome back to the only podcast that has A rolls and B rolls, and we're going to tell you what those things mean. I'm Travis, and I'm here with Jen.
Hi, everyone.
I can't wait to get into this. We actually get questions like this all the time, and so I remember it might have been sometime last year where we were doing a podcast, and someone emailed in and said, I don't know what 1 of 10 means.
Yes.
And we were quickly reminded that even though we talk to established YouTubers, there are new people who don't know what some of the terms are.
Yeah.
So we're going to tell them today.
Yeah, and we just had someone who had written into us, which you can write in through text message or
email, theboost@vidIQ.com. Yes.
And they didn't know what B-roll was.
Right.
Which is fair.
I love that.
It's just fun, and we're going to go through.
Yeah. We're going to answer it really well. So perfect that it's going to be the most perfect place, and you can always come here and learn all these things.
And if you feel like you know them,
I
challenge you to listen to it and see if there's one that surprises you. If there's one you're like, oh, wait, I didn't know what that meant. Or I thought it meant something. Maybe it means something else.
Well, that might be me.
That might be me too.
That might actually happen live here on this episode. So anyway, we want you to be able to use this episode as something you can come back to in case you forget what certain terminology is. Or if you're new here, this might be a great introduction to Jen and I as we kind of explain how YouTube works. And I think this is a great one because for some people, they've been hearing words and terms for a long time and maybe just didn't know what it meant and just kind of kept going on. But it might be helpful for you to know those things. So
sometimes it's embarrassing.
To ask. Not gonna lie.
If you feel like it's something you should know and you're like, I'm just gonna continue to play it cool until I figure it out.
I do that with people and their names all the time. I've known you for 3 years, I don't know your name, but I'm not gonna tell you that I don't know your name. So let's start off with some names of things. Let's start with, what is it? A-roll, I think is a good one to start off with because it's an alphabetical. We'll do A. Is that okay?
Yes.
What is A-roll? I mean, we're kind of looking at A-roll.
Yeah.
Right now, if you're looking at us, you're looking at A-roll. How would you define A-roll?
A-roll is just your main footage.
Yeah. So it's the thing you're looking at here right now. This is A-roll.
Yeah, the main portion of your content.
It's rarely used though. You rarely hear say
you don't.
A-roll. You don't just mention it.
No, it's one that I think would catch you off guard if you hear.
Yeah.
And I think if you're organizing for an editor, or if you are an editor, then you would see content divided between A-roll and B-roll.
Yes.
But other than that, I wouldn't say slang-wise, you wouldn't be like, I'm going to shoot my A-roll today.
Right. No one says
You'd be like, I'm going to shoot my video today.
That you're a super nerd if you do that.
Which I kind of like it. We should maybe start that.
Well, so in this next answer, I'm going to tell you a little story. B-roll.
Yes.
What is B-roll? People hear that word all the time. What is B-roll?
Yeah, B-roll is... it's your overlay shots, it's your additional footage, it's everything that you're adding visually to your video that is not your A-roll. Yes.
So if while Jen and I are talking, we show like a beach somewhere where we wish we could be, that would be the B-roll. Now here's a story.
Okay.
That directly talks about B-roll. As an upcoming tech YouTuber, I was... I did a lot of research on other tech YouTube channels and realized that they used a lot of B-roll. So shots of phones, cameras, and stuff like that. Just like if you had your phone and you were holding it and they show a shot of holding, that's like a B-roll shot, right? And I didn't want to do that for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't think I could do it as well, and B, lazy. So I was in the middle of a video, I was like, I'm the B-roll. And people actually caught on to that. And Viper actually started calling me the B-roll, and I have a shirt that says "I am the B-roll." I should have worn it today. I didn't know we were.
Oh my gosh!
So
confusing.
Yes, I call myself the B-roll. I've said that for years, and as a joke, but it actually kind of caught on a little bit. So,
that's so funny.
Yeah, but you're not the B-roll, just FYI. Okay, what's a jump cut?
Are we doing this like a quiz for me the whole time? Because I can't.
Yes, because you're smart, and I can't see that from
not.
here. Well, you can ask me a question, and we'll see if I get it right. But what is a jump cut? I mean, I can tell you what a jump cut is.
Yeah, what's a jump cut?
All right, look at her, and then quickly look at me, and then look at her again, with no transition, and then look at me again. Do the left eye, and then the right eye. I can jump cut you by doing this. There's nothing weird about what I'm doing right now. I just want you to. Me doing this is not weird.
Please don't abandon the content.
Yeah. So basically, it's a cut between one scene and another without any kind of transition. It's very. It can be abrupt, but there's usually reasons for it. It also helps with pacing if you're trying to get things
Yeah.
kind of feeling like something quick.
It's really cutting out all the dead space, all the pauses. Maybe it's or thinking. That would also be a jump cut.
It's very common.
It's super common. I think that it's a way that people just edit, and if you want to put a name to it, it's a jump cut.
Yeah. I mean, we do put a name to it. A cold open. I like this because The Office did this a lot. The TV show The Office does this a lot, which is, it's not something you'll necessarily see phrased in YouTube.
I agree with that.
It's more of a TV phrase, but it is something that is relevant in case you have like some type of episodic thing you're doing on YouTube, which is the great thing about YouTube, right? It doesn't have to just be one type of thing. You can have shows, like TV shows on YouTube, which is when you're already into the episode. Something is already happening. Like nothing warmed you up to what's about to happen. It's not like, welcome to The Office. They're like, boom, right in the middle of the scene. You're in there. And to be honest, that's probably how a lot of YouTube videos should start.
Well, we see this a lot in lifestyle content. It's pretty much like you're pulling that clip forward to hook the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
There's not context. You're really going for that kind of wow, dramatic moment. Maybe you're hiking you're summiting a mountain, and the clip you pull forward is you like reacting to the view without us seeing the view. That would be a cold open, and then we need to watch the intro of the video. Like the story starts after that.
Yeah.
And we see that a lot. It's super popular in lifestyle content to pull a clip forward, because when you're vlogging, the beginning is not always the best part. So it's a way to get people interested in what you think are the most dramatic moments.
Yeah, a really good technique. You hear people call it that when they're editing it or something. They usually say it's the hook or whatever, but it's literally what it is.
I think it's just like a different style intro when it comes down to like YouTube. But if you want to feel fancy,
if you want, to
feel fancy, that's what we're here for.
Talking head.
This is another one that someone in coaching had asked me. I had mentioned it a couple of times. They were finally like, I need to ask you because I don't know what that means.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's exactly what it sounds like.
I don't know if that's true though, because
we are talking head. This is the talking head portion of
but I think if you don't know what it means, like maybe you actually think it's like a talking head, like another thing added into the video, or like it can definitely be.
I mean, if you take it literal.
Yeah. Well,
but it is both literal and.
It is, yeah.
It's both at the same time.
But the confusion was there, and they.
I could understand that. It's
agree.
a weird phrase.
It is, but it's so commonly used. It's an entire style of video.
So it's a talking portion, like basically what we're doing in a podcast is a talking head kind of thing. It's
Pretty much if you're not a vlogger, if you're not vlogging.
You're not doing anything.
You're a talking head. If you're sitting in a studio.
Yeah, you're a talking head. You are. Whether you like it or
you're
not.
You're a talking head.
One hell of a talking head. You are talking that head off. What's the next one?
Montage, which.
Fancy.
It's a montage. We're just like talking
French lunch.
Yeah, right? Bits of content edited together.
Yeah.
This often goes with B-roll.
It does. It uses B-roll for a montage.
Yeah.
Look at that. We're putting things together.
If you think about like this, what did you just say, a sandwich?
I did.
A montage and B-roll could be shots of you assembling that sandwich and you're clipping it together with music.
Yes. It can be
that would be a montage.
It almost tells like a mini story within the overarching story.
Oh, I like that.
Right? It's like a story within a story. Yeah.
It's like also like an aesthetic little.
Very
thing.
aesthetic.
Yeah. I think there has to be emphasis on that.
Yes.
What's an unaesthetic montage? Is that a thing?
I've never seen an unaesthetic montage. I don't think it becomes a
montage.
Why
are we montaging?
I think it's just jump cuts then. I think it's what it becomes. A montage without aesthetic is jump cuts, right?
Jump cuts.
Someone someone tripped across this video that's in a film school and is literally yelling at their monitor right now. I can hear it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
You shouldn't be at film school at this point, I guess what we're really saying. Okay, anyway, voiceover. Not to say because I have been to film school. Voiceover. Okay. This is a little bit easier, I think, to explain than anything else.
Yeah.
It's just it's your voice over video content. But
over that
usually
montage.
Yeah, over the montage. The voice usually is not the. So here's the tricky part. You usually don't see the person. You don't see the talking head of the voice. That's why it's the voice over a track, over a video track. You can eventually see their face, like it could come back to them. But typically, voiceover work, which I know our engineer here does a little bit of here, is usually not you usually don't get seen.
Unless you're a lifestyle creator.
You could voice over your own stuff.
Yeah,
of
if
course.
you're making cinematic content, you're voicing over like your montage, which is like you.
Yeah.
For the most part.
You could do that.
I think that's like the
It could be a
like
thing or a type of job. It's weird because it's a little bit more.
It's definitely like just a broad term where it's like you're adding in a separate audio track.
It's a spectrum of things.
But what that actual audio track looks like in your YouTube video is totally different.
Okay.
Because like you're saying, like a voiceover is typically like when you're not on camera.
Correct.
Or if you're, an off-grid, if you're a camping channel, a lot of times we see montages where it's this person living their day-to-day life and the entire channel is voiceover.
Yeah.
And they're just filming themselves.
Yeah.
And we have a voiceover like of their life. So it's creatively how you apply it, but at the end of the day, it's a separate audio track.
Yeah.
That is done in the editing portion of the process.
I feel okay with it. You feel okay with it? I'm going to make sure that the professional person in the room feels okay with our definition of what we just said.
We got a nod.
Yeah, okay, we're good. Vlog. Now this one,
is fun.
I was about to say this is a slippery slope, right? I was gonna say this is the one that people are gonna get. Okay, I will just say that
I love this one.
I'm not gonna even try to define this. I'm just gonna say that vlog originally came from blogs. Blogs were first. Vlogs came along.
Yep.
Now what vlogs are now, because what they used to be was a video version of a blog. That's why they were called vlogs. At this point, I don't know what the hell they are. So it's
such a crazy term.
You go ahead.
We were just talking about this the other day, and I think that what we came down to in a meeting was that it's more of a style of filming now.
Okay.
It's not a niche. It's like no longer like I'm a vlogger. Mm-hmm. It's a style of filming.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is now. And I think that it's always kind of been like that too, because when you think about the talking head, like you're not making a vlog. I don't think so.
Right.
You're producing a video.
Is this a vlog?
Are you asking?
I am. the things that we do.
This is a podcast.
I know, but can it be a vloggy podcast? Can a podcast be a vlog? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
If you are filming in a vlog style format,
what would that be? What would that look like?
I would say it's holding the camera, change of environments. I would say the storytelling is effectively done through different environments.
Would it have to be behind the scenes of the podcast to be a vlog?
I think if we were vlogging the podcast, the vlog component would be completely unscripted and would reflect maybe more of like the process of making, like vlog a day in the life of making the podcast.
Okay.
But I can't think of one thing that would be a vlog about a podcast when it's a talking head.
I like how you added all those terms.
All those terms right back in. But it's interesting. It's up for debate because vlog used to be a niche on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like you were a vlogger.
Very specific.
Yeah. And I would say at that time, you never used like a tripod. You would throw your camera in random places. Shaky cam was like intentional.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Like that was a style.
Absolutely.
I think they call it gorilla cam.
Is that what they're calling it now?
That's what it used. I think that's what it used to.
Is that because they gave a camera?
That's not on the list, but I think that's what it was called. Like Casey Neistat Prime vlogging was like the gorilla cam. I could be wrong. I think that's what it's called.
His level of vlogging now is really high end. I mean, it's ridiculous. He'll put like a camera in a refrigerator before he opens it, which nowadays is probably normal. But when he was doing it, it was like, wait a minute, what's happening right now? Like, why are you doing that? But it made sense. Like, it makes sense to the story.
Yeah. I think a vlog should feel like I'm coming along with you on some type of journey.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. But it's a tough one, though, because, I mean, yeah, could you call anything a video log? Sure.
Anything can be a podcast, as we found out.
Anything can be a podcast. But if you show someone your podcast, you're like, I'm a vlogger, you're probably going to get some weird looks.
Some people are going to look at you weird. All right, CTA, call to action.
This is a good one.
CTAs. This is great for us because we actually say CTAs and call to action in our podcast. So great to define this for people who don't know.
Yep.
Call to action is exactly what it sounds like. You're calling someone to an action. typically subscribe, like, share,
Yep.
watch more.
Yep.
I'm calling you to that action. Please do these things.
It could be anything too. It could be a sales video where you
Sure.
click the link in my description. You know, go buy my merch, leave a comment, join my Patreon. It could be anything that you're asking somebody to do.
And it's not, so to be clear, call to action isn't just a YouTuber-y phrase. It actually means other things outside of YouTube. But again, we're only defining it within the YouTube kind of square things, which is, you know, do this thing because I told you to do this thing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next one?
Script and bullet points. Well, / bullet points.
Okay.
Both ways of making a script.
So I think most people know what a script is, but they might not understand how it works on YouTube or exactly what that means and what the difference between doing that and bullet pointing is. I don't typically use a script. Typically, scripts are something you read word for word.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So, and bullet points can be, would be more kind of my style, is I would just understand what the general thought is.
Yep.
And then just fill in my words as it comes out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Which can be good or bad.
Fair. I agree.
It can be very, so the thing is, here's the thing. I'm for almost my entire career, for everything I've been unscripted for everything I've ever done, because there's reasons why. But I will say that there have been times where after the first half of my YouTube career, or whatever you want to call it, I was like, I'm missing out on things that I wanted to say. I realized them after the fact.
Okay.
So I then went to like bullet points. Like I'll wait in advance and I'll go, okay, I want to make sure I say all these things. So it's like it's almost like dipping your toe into scripting in a way, kind of ish, to allow yourself to make sure you say everything that you really want to say when you're watching the thing back. Because ultimately, that's when scripts were like come in. That's where the value of scripts, I think, really show themselves.
Yeah.
Because if you spent the time to script something out, more than likely you've said everything you want to say. And then it's just a matter of editing things. Editing either in,
True.
out, and then you're good. If you are unscripted, that can be fun and exciting and great, but you probably missed something. You're almost guaranteed to have missed something.
Depends on the type of content and how you want to produce that content.
Yeah.
And I think that brings us to like scripted and unscripted content, which obviously both exist
A lot
on the
yes.
platform.
Absolutely.
I would consider bullet pointed content also scripted content.
Okay.
Would you?
I could see where it would be.
I think it's like a gray
cousin.
area, but like
I could see it be under, like if you had to Sophie's Choice it, I could see it being more under scripted. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, unscripted just means nothing. Like you're just wild.
You're,
Like this is unscripted.
you're just going for it.
I mean, we're reading the things we're going to talk about. Well,
I would
that's
say,
interesting.
No, I would say we're scripted.
Are we? So I think if you said this podcast was scripted, people wouldn't think it means something that it doesn't.
It could. I mean, to somebody that could mean like we're both reading off of like
right,
a
a teleprompter.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's what it implies, but that's not necessarily what it means.
I could see that absolutely.
And I think then implication of what it means versus what someone will take it to mean
True.
is important.
So maybe it does fall more under the unscripted. I don't know. You'll have to let us know in the comment if you think
what do you think?
doing bullet points would put you under scripted or unscripted content. I think that's a good battle.
And let us know,
to start.
do you do scripted content? I mean, I would love to know like what part of our audience is doing scripted content.
I think I would say most people that I've ever worked with do scripted content.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. What's the next one there?
We're going down to editing terms now.
Oh, very nice. We did jump cuts earlier. So
Yeah.
cut and the jump cut are similar-ish. The cut is just
We can kind of like rapid fire through these. Some of them, you'll see or hear. Again, if you're working with an editor, if you have plans to work with an editor, these are things you could be familiar with, but not something like you're probably not going to hear all of these in like casual conversation, aside from like a cut.
Yeah.
Is the basic edit of your video. You're probably going to hear it as a first cut, rough cut. That's round one.
Yeah.
You took all your footage and you made your first edition.
You did the thing. There's hard cut, there's J cuts, there's L cuts.
Yeah.
I love those. Probably won't get too much into that. I won't get too deep detail in it, but just think of it as when you're watching something visually and you're hearing the audio from the thing before. That's I believe an L cut. I like that for certain transitions, and cuts, and whether it be cuts or blends or anything like that, are just transitions between what you're currently watching and the next thing you're about to watch. whether it be the same scene, maybe it's between me and you, between watching me on camera, watching you, or if we're split screen. Like those are all different ways to get transition between the different elements.
Yeah, there's like infinite amounts of techniques and words you could do for editing.
Yeah, lower third we should talk about though. For
lower
sure.
third, text at the bottom of the screen.
Yes. So that's the lower third of the screen. There's text there. Typically, in a talking head, it might be the name and like title of the person or something. That's what's very common.
Yep, you'll see that on the podcast quite a bit.
So lower third is really important. I think.
Overlay is a good one.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot of things that you're going to be focusing on for retention or visual interest, or you're going to be doing a lot of this. If you put text, if you put an image over, if you have stock footage, if you have anything that you're putting on top of the existing video for visual interest, it's an overlay.
I love that. Yeah, that's really good. And it's important to know these terms. Maybe not if you're editing your own stuff, which probably most of you are. It's just nice to know these things. But if you're ever communicating with someone else who's editing or something and they start saying these terms, you're like, I don't really know what
I think these are like pretty basic ones too, because if you have our one-on-one coach, or if you have submit a video in our new feature for review, where you can submit just a video with no commitment to one of our coaches for review, they might come back with terms like this, and they might say like, fix the overlay at this point, or maybe add in a lower third here for more context. So these are definitely things that you'll hear and you want to understand on like a day-to-day basis though. But it just puts you more in the world. Like, you're more in the know.
I agree.
Like,
we like to let people be in the know. All right, what's the next thing we're doing here? So we had editing terms. What's next after editing, or is that it? Is there anything else after editing? Yes, there is keyframe.
We have a couple more.
So transitions. Let's talk about transition. Keyframes are. I'm gonna let you do the keyframes. I feel like that's super complicated. But
keyframes are definitely an editor thing, like where you're setting the actual frames for, you know, if you're sound ramping or anything like those that's
editing. It's kind of deep. It's good to know. Definitely, there's a ton of how to use keyframes in editing videos on YouTube. Definitely look at those if you're looking to do things like, let's say for example, you have this one wide shot, which we have a big camera here, and you want to zoom between us, but you want to make it look like you have a camera that's actually moving. You would use keyframes to move the frame back and forth, and for other various things.
Maybe it sounds like, I don't know what you're talking about, but if that's like an editing technique that sounds interesting, now you know how to search it.
Exactly that. Transitions. So we talked about that a little while ago, but cuts, hard cuts, blends, fades,
dissolves, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
All the basic ones.
Yeah. And it's good to know. Color grading is interesting because it's definitely an art form.
Yes.
And not everyone agrees on it.
Well, I think it's...
In other words, what looks good. You literally can have two editors, professionals, sit down and color grade something, and they're going to not agree on 90% of it.
I think because we all see color differently.
We do.
So
and
I
what
think
monitor
that
you're
makes it
using,
huge.
like all the things. And what are you trying to get across? Like what visual kind of look you're trying to get across?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Color grading is a rabbit hole. And if you're interested in color theory, which I think is important because color theory is important for things like thumbnails.
Yes, 100%.
Here's the cheat. So color theory, by the way, is just trying to figure out what colors go together and kind of pop and everything. Here's the cheat. And people will pay lots of money to do color theory research. You don't need to. Look at sports teams. They've already done it. They've literally already done it. Sports teams already have done the color theory.
That's funny.
Most people don't think about that, but they literally have. Those team colors are not put together just because. Some of them look that way, not gonna lie. But literally pro teams have done color theory, which is why they've picked the colors they have.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Buy yourself a color wheel on Amazon and start playing around.
Color wheels.
That is color theory, the color wheel.
No, I know. I'm just thinking about buying a color wheel. I'm like,
you don't have a color wheel?
I know what a color wheel is. I didn't even think to like buy one. Like it just didn't cross my mind.
We got to get you a color wheel.
I don't. What would I'll spend that.
Yeah, they wrote. No, I know all three layers.
I know exactly what it is.
Yeah,
I know exactly what it is.
We gotta get you a color wheel.
That's interesting.
Go play with it. They're fun.
They're fun to play with. It's almost like a fidget spinner, except for it's much bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, they have like color wheel like boxes and stuff. They have all kinds of crazy stuff you can play with.
It's interesting.
Anyone interested in color, go down that rabbit hole on Amazon. There's some fun stuff.
Yeah, go down the rabbit hole on Amazon, period, and you might end up broke. You might end up completely broke.
I'm like, everybody's got a color wheel. Duh.
No, I do not. I'm sorry, I do not. Okay. What do you have? Gateway there?
Cutaway.
Oh, cutaway.
Yeah.
This is how bad my eyes are.
Yeah. Inserting footage to break up a scene or hide an edit.
Kind of like B-roll-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You're
don't
using B-roll to cutaway, right? Because
Oh,
cutaway is the
yeah,
action.
I was gonna say it's the action.
It's the action of
and you got to go on to one of our earlier terms to decide what you're gonna do it with.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be all three. It's gonna be an overlay, cutaway, B-roll.
In the B-roll with the montage. Don't forget the montage. Yeah, your quiz for this particular part of the episode is can you cut away to B-roll for a montage? Yes or no? All right, green screen, which is absolutely critical, especially for streaming, to understand what that is, because if you don't understand what it is, you're going to be lost because it's used a lot of places. By the way,
yeah,
didn't used to be green screen, it used to be blue screen.
Oh, that's interesting.
You didn't know that? So
no.
This is back in my day, it was blue screen. It wasn't green screen.
Interesting.
And I think the reason they changed to green is because of some of the colors that were used and other things. And they're like, well, green's just easier to key out. But it used to be blue screen. Now it's green screen, which is what you typically will see streamers have behind them. And the reason it's there and the reason it's one color is it's easy to, what they say, key out, to remove it so that you instantly blend into whatever your other background is. Most people have seen this on Zoom and stuff where you're like, oh, I'm on the beach, but I'm doing a Zoom meeting. Yay. That's what that is. But now we're at a point where AI is so good in tools that you don't even need the screen behind you a lot of the times. Like it literally will cut you out no matter what's behind you. So in my streaming setup at home, you'll notice that there's a blur in the background. That is not my camera doing that. That is my GPU doing that. It's artificial intelligence looking at my environment. It's not a fake background. It is legitimately my background, but it makes it look like I get that nice blur with a really high-end camera, but my webcam can't do that. So the software does it. It's very interesting. We're really there are some things that AI is amazing for that I can say, yes, as a tool, amazing.
Well, I definitely don't have that.
You could.
We'll swap. We'll swap color wheels for software.
Let me send you my GPU for your color wheel. Okay, yeah. I would like the $1,000 extra that's going to cost. Okay, down to analytics and performance terms. These are actually really important because we talk about a lot of this stuff, and I think this is where we get tripped up with a lot of people. They'll ask us, well, what does this mean? What does CTR mean? What does click-through rate? What does that mean?
Yeah. What does it actually mean? You see it. A lot of these you've seen.
Yeah, you've at least heard them.
Like mysteries. Like these are all in your analytics, and they're there.
But you might not know what they mean.
But yeah, to the full extent.
Yeah.
Click-through rate. The classic.
Let's
also clarify, like CTR is click-through rate.
It's the same thing.
It's the same word.
Click-through rate. Yes. CTR. For those who don't know.
Which I could totally see people thinking those are two different things.
Yes. And I guarantee someone just heard this and went, oh!
That's what we're here to do.
100%. I just heard it through the camera.
We're here.
I literally heard it through the camera.
For the shock factor.
Yes. So what that is every time your thumbnail is shown, that is an impression, which you've heard us talk about, impressions, which is every time your thumbnail is shown, which I guess now I just answered one of the next things.
Yeah, go through them.
And then when someone clicks, that is a percentage of how many times it was shown. So for example, if you were shown this thumbnail 10 times and someone clicked on it one time, that's 10% click-through rate, CTR. Yes. Obviously, you want people to click as many times as possible when showing
100.
100 would be great.
100%.
That would be great. It's never going to happen, but it'd be great.
Just kidding. That literally doesn't exist on YouTube.
Doesn't exist, but it'd be great if it did. The higher that number is, the more people have clicked. Is the way to look at that.
Yeah, and the click-through rate is affected by your title, your thumbnail, and your video idea. And all of those play together. So if you're looking at your click-through rate and you're like, oh my gosh, I got like a low click-through rate, which is relative to everybody. They're all different. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily one thing. It's multiple things that contribute to the number for why somebody clicked or didn't click. Mm-hmm. So you want to keep that in mind if you're like troubleshooting. It might not be like, oh my gosh, I need to go make a new thumbnail right now. It could be a title. It could just be the idea. The idea could not be interesting to a wide group of people. Mm-hmm. So, our famous click-through rate.
All right, now we're going to get into the weeds because here's where a couple of terms in a row are easily confused with each other.
Okay.
And probably so sticky that even I am a little worried about making sure we get this right.
Okay.
Because they're very, very specific. So, retention rate, versus average view duration versus watch
versus
time
watch time
versus audience retention. Like we are talking about things that are so similar.
Yeah. I would keep that in mind too. Like these are all very similar.
And sometimes people will say one thing when they mean something else.
That's true.
So
I probably do that from time to time.
100%. Let's start with retention rate.
Okay.
And then I'll talk about average view duration, and then we'll talk about because this is I really want to be very careful with this part.
Okay. Retention rate is measured in percentage of how long people are watching your video. When you go into your retention graph, you're going to see a percentage there for the retention.
Okay.
Is that what we want to describe, or we want to break it down by percentages on the retention graph?
We're going to just say that for that right now. Average view duration is measuring a very similar thing, but doing it differently.
Ooh,
because it's the amount of time. So it's not a percentage, it's time. So if you have a 10-minute video and someone watches 7 minutes, that's 70%, but it's 7 minutes. Average view duration is 7 minutes, not 70%.
And let's also remind everyone this is the average.
Right. Which is actually super important to understand.
Because people aren't just watching 7 minutes of your video.
Right. Some people are watching the whole thing.
Some people are watching none of it.
Exactly that.
That's why it's the average.
Yes.
So see that number and be like, wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
Because a bunch of people finished my video to get me to that place.
Yes. And we've tested this too to figure out like what a percentage looks like and what it is by putting things at the very end of a video and having people ask, when we ask people to say things in the comments, because the only way we would know about this comment is to have watched it all the way through. Yeah. I think we did a crunchy peanut butter thing one time.
Yeah, we've done a handful of things.
Yeah.
A lot of people do this at the end of their videos. Like, if you're watching this far, leave the blank emoji.
Yeah. And then a watch time, which is an aggregate. And what most people know it as is how to get to monetization. I need a lot of watch time, 4,000 watch time hours. That's the aggregate time watched. So it's not necessarily about, I mean, technically you can have.
It's not an average.
It's not an average.
It's real.
It is real. So a video that has 100 views of 7-minute watch time times 100 is however many watch hours that is. So I don't know what the math is on that because I'm not going to try to do it in my head.
Okay.
I just know it's an aggregate.
So that's a number. That's why you have to track this to get to your monetization. Okay. This is not an average. They're not like, oh, well, you got 10 hours today and, we'll see how tomorrow goes on average.
No, this is.
No, it's counted.
Yes.
And unless you're running ads, it's counted.
Right. Exactly that. Okay, and then audience retention graph is the actual
thing. So this is the graph itself, and this is where you can see the broken down percentages that we referenced first, again in percents, and you can scrub through that graph and you can see what percent is watching when for that time period in the video.
Right.
Which is when you see that opening hook and you see the retention for your opening, you see the retention and the drop off at the end, and your average retention for the majority of your video.
Absolutely. Okay. So we're down to RPM and CPM. So these are good because this is money.
Yes.
Cha-ching. So for years, the only thing that was available in the metrics was CPM, which is cost per milli. So in other words, that's what advertisers pay per 1,000 views. It is not what you make. And that's what's important. It was kind of an irrelevant piece of information YouTube was giving us because there was nothing we knew that we could say, okay, well, that means I got this much out of that.
Yeah.
They came out with RPM, which helped us figure out how much we're actually getting paid per 1,000, which is revenue per 1,000, milli.
Milli means 1,000.
Milli vanilli.
Yeah. For everyone watching, milli means 1,000.
So,
is it like Latin or something?
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's some other language other than the one
Latin.
that I speak. So RPM is the one you actually want to pay attention to. CPM is interesting, but not necessarily relevant.
Yeah, CPM is interesting if you're monetized and we're in peak ad seasons. If we're in November and December when, revenue is high, you can see the ads change. Like the bids get higher, people are buying things, we're in a consumer world for the holidays. So it's interesting to see how that changes. And it's also interesting to see how that's very different per niche. Obviously, you probably don't have multiple channels and different niches that are monetized. And you're seeing the difference that the, ad companies are bidding for different niches, but that also makes it interesting too.
Yeah. So don't worry about CPM.
Yeah.
It's it's almost not even like a brag, because again, you're not getting that money. You're getting RPM. And by the way, for depending on where you're watching this, you're not even getting RPM because you got to pay the tax man. So you're not even getting that money. All right. Bounce rate. Okay, now we're into like advanced things.
Yeah.
This is something that if you are really kind of a super technical nerd into this sort of thing, like me, for example, you might hear about this. This is when people are watching and then leave.
Yep.
And at the rate at which they leave your video. It's good information to know. What most people will see it as is the dip in their retention graph.
Yep.
But we talk about bounce rate and like session views and stuff, or session that we have, viewer sessions that we'll talk about in a minute. For people that are like really into this, that are into nitty gritty, that really like to kind of dig down deep.
Yeah.
Just know that it is when people leave.
Yeah. Abandonment, click offs. I mean, you can really call it whatever you want.
I've been abandoned.
But
I've been bounce rated by my parents.
I've been bounce rated.
Yeah, my parents bounce rated.
Let's switch it to ghost when people start ghosting your content.
I've been bounced.
Let's.
Matter of fact, by the way, because the slang used to be I'm bouncing, I'm bounced. Yeah, that was the thing. But on like dating apps now, you can say I got bounced.
That's funny.
I've been bounced.
I've been bounced.
Traffic sources. Oh, so important.
Yep.
So impressions. I'm not going to say views because again, views are when a person clicks. YouTube gives you impressions. It does not give you views. YouTube gives you impressions. People give you views. Let's say that first. Your impressions come from different traffic sources, which can be browse, search, suggested, direct. My favorite one, unknown, direct or unknown. Love those because you don't know where they came from. But then again, neither does YouTube.
I just ran an experiment the other day. Direct is a link from YouTube that is shared. If you're sharing your video link, it's a direct.
It can be, but
click from the link. The unknown obviously is unknown.
That's the part. That's the thing that's really frustrating is because there is a direct, but they also put it with unknown. They know the direct, so why don't you just split that out for me, please?
I don't know what other unknown would be unless they're just covering their butts because external is external. That's also coming from a link that's not inside of YouTube.
The fact that they don't know is kind of weird.
They're just like,
yeah. And they to your point, yes, direct they know about, and a lot of times it's from even like community tabs and stuff comes up under direct, but they mash it together with other sources that they don't know about, which is dumb. Unknown? You know the direct ones, so just
I literally can't even think of an additional thing.
No, I can't either.
Like where is someone watching?
Magic, just someone just they dreamed your YouTube video.
It's so weird, like
so dumb.
YouTube, what is unknown?
Just
tell us.
Yeah, please. All right. Demographic. What is it?
Yeah, your audience demographics are the audience that you have right now. Not to be confused with the audience you are trying to get, but this is in your analytics where you see where people are watching from, how old they are, basic information, gender, and this is just for people who identify this within their Google account. So lots of people don't have this information on their viewing account, on their Gmail. Yeah. So this is what you have right now. But don't let this dictate decisions. But it's a good way to monitor if you're reaching the people you want to be reaching.
Yeah.
But it's very common for people to be like, well, my audience, and then only talking about their demographic. It's like that's the audience you have, not the audience you want.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Real-time views. So
it's my favorite.
That seems pretty straightforward.
This is my favorite analytic.
It's what's happening now, view-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important.
Which is a separate. I think this one is not something that a lot of creators pay attention to because there's been a couple of times I've asked for real-time views or told people like keep an eye on your real-time views for the next 48 hours, and they're like, "Excuse me."
It's a specific part in
the
analytics that actually I think it even is called real-time views.
It is real-time views, yeah. And you can do it by 60 minutes or 48 hours.
Yeah.
And that's what's actively coming to your channel. So this is where you go if you've, say, made part 2 to a video and you're like, okay, is it going to help part 1 of my video I released last month start popping off?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to go into each video analytic and like memorize views and be like, okay, I was at 100 views. I think, did I get 5 more views? You're going to go in your real-time views and you're going to see that active traffic and monitor those graphs.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
This next one is a doozy. Algorithm. Oh my Lanta. Everyone talks about the algorithm. What is the
algorithm?
The algorithm. The algorithm. It's unknowable.
It's the troll that lives under the bridge.
It really is.
Yeah.
It is the thing that everyone talks about. A lot of people talk about it incorrectly.
Yeah.
It is basically machine learning and it's actually beyond whatever it was. Like whatever it used to be 3-5 years ago is not what it is today. If you know anything about the way AI and machine learning works, it exponentially changes over the course of time and over a short period of time because it learns and it becomes a thing.
Okay.
But it basically is the system by which recommendations, which are the things that show up on like your front page or on your up next through YouTube, are kind of filtered through. It is basically the thing that you want to make happy that can't be made happy because it's not a thing, not a human, but we really want to make it happy. Like we want to do everything to make the algorithm happy.
It's a finicky machine.
We hate it and love it all at the same time. It's the most toxic relationship you'll ever have. Session time. This is another one of those kind of nitty gritty, like you have to be really into it type things. So in other words, don't be worried about this, I think is what we can start off by saying for newer creators. Like, don't worry about understanding what session time is.
That's fair.
But it's basically the amount of time that someone is watching content that's not just one video, but it could be multiple videos across multiple channels even.
It's how long you're on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's how long you're watching YouTube. Not
something that they even surface to us. So it's kind of a weird thing to even ever talk about because we don't have the analytics behind it.
Well, we have, we can see our end screens clicked. We can kind of make assumptions for the session time. If people are watching multiple videos, if you're looking at the percentage of people that clicked into your end screen, you can see how successful you are at extending that session time.
That particular session, but the full session time is all on YouTube, which could have come from another channel to you and then out to another channel. Which
you have no way of knowing how someone like logged in.
Right. I would love to know that stuff because one of the things that has been, it's hard to say whether it's known, although YouTube has kind of admitted this, is if you're at the end of a session, in other words, they left YouTube on one of your videos, that's not a good signal.
Yeah.
And it would be wonderful to know, and if you're at the beginning of it and you sent, and someone stays for an hour after they started watching your video, that's a good signal.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we don't know where we live in that thing, and it would be so amazing if YouTube would ever service that to us.
Yeah,
like, did we keep someone on platform? Because we know that's a good signal to the algorithm, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know
it's true. The session time is more behavioral than actual like time linked. And you can think of like your session time as a viewer for like what keeps you on the platform, what makes you want to leave. And these are viewer behaviors. This is when you put like your little viewer hat back on and you're like, how do I, or what increases my session time?
Yeah.
And those are the things that you can analyze and potentially implement into your creator side of things.
Yeah. All right, so let's get down to the content strategy in terms of we're bringing it home. We're landing the plane.
Right?
Niche. Everyone has heard this who's a content creator. What is it really?
Or niche.
Oh, please. Can we not do that?
I don't say it like that, but.
Please don't say that.
A lot of people do.
Pinky up, niche. Every time.
Niche.
We don't, like, you have a quiche. You don't have a kitsch. Kitsch even means something different.
Yeah.
That's different. There's my point.
There, you made quiche. Your own point.
You don't eat a kitsch. You eat a quiche. You eat in the kitchen.
And you don't eat a niche.
You don't eat a niche. That is true. A niche is a sub. How do you want to even describe it? Like a sub genre of? And now I'm using genres. Like how do you explain genre?
It's the category you're creating within.
There you go.
It's the type of content that you're making.
Yes, that's to the point.
Easy.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it.
Evergreen content. We've literally done videos on evergreen content, realizing now that maybe people don't even know what the heck that means.
Well, we explained it really well.
Did we?
Yeah.
That it lives on forever and ever?
Yeah.
At least relevant to all the people in the world?
Yes.
Future,
the evergreen content
past, present.
Episode was good.
Yeah. It's hopefully evergreen. Means it's relevant for a very long time. Potentially
That's
ever.
The goal.
That is the goal.
That's the goal.
All right. Trend jacking, which is something I've heard you say so many times since shooting these episodes.
Oh my gosh.
You use that phrase more than anyone else I've ever met.
Because it's such a hack. It's such a cheat to get traffic to your channel.
Explain.
If you do it right.
What is it?
It's literally jumping on a trend that's popular within your niche. You're just kind of jumping on it. You're just jacking the traffic for whatever's possible.
Jacking the traffic for whatever's possible. Quote, Jen 2025. Yes. So a trend, something that's very popular in the moment, and then jumping on that and taking.
You're stealing that audience. That's what you're doing. You're making it relevant. You're stealing the audience that's watching the relevant content. And this is an entire strategy in itself, but that's the summary of it.
Yeah. What do we got there? Thumbnail. Okay, if you don't know what a thumbnail is, we got problems. We got major problems.
That's true.
It's the little picture that people click on and
Decides
watch
whether
the video.
you click or not.
I'm not going to shame you if you don't know what it is. I'm not going to shame you, but just know I'm judging you right now. If you were this deep in this video and you don't know what a thumbnail is, I'm judging you. All right. What do we got there? SEO.
SEO, search engine optimization. And this is far less relevant than it once was.
It's definitely in a different place than it was.
Yeah.
SEO specifically was meant for websites, but now we talk about it on YouTube because for people searching for things.
Searching.
Searching. Engine, which means you're trying to optimize your titles and thumbnails and all the other things
for search.
That's all you
very
need to
clear
know.
Very, very clear difference.
If you try to look too deep into this
is not how the algorithm works. This is how you target search traffic.
Yeah, we don't want to. If we go too much deeper, we're gonna get into the weeds of things that are irrelevant.
Right?
Completely irrelevant.
Title optimization. Anything we say that's optimization is making it the best for your audience. You're optimizing for views. You're doing everything in your power to get the click. For what makes sense to your audience, and optimizing it in every single type of content and channel is going to be entirely different.
Yeah.
And it's going to be what makes sense to your audience. So this is like what you'll hear a lot if you are using AI resources. Like, you want to take that and then you want to optimize it for humans, for your audience. Maybe that means specific language that's going to be just it's just going to weigh really heavily, and they're going to see it and be super familiar. So just make it important.
Yeah. I like it. Keywords, which are not to be confused
keywords
with
and tags.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Let them have it.
Bro, we've talked about this so often.
It.
But I am going to assume that none of you have seen any of our videos. We have talked about this in depth. Just know that keywords are important in that it can be a way, and if you use
title optimization.
In title optimization for SEO. Just know that we have a tool that helps you kind of figure out keywords with vidIQ. You can download a free version of our tool if you don't have one already. There's a link in the description and the show notes. But just know that it is a way that you can get an idea of interest in a topic. So, for example, using our tool, you can look at a keyword, and I'm going to say it, chocolate cake. It's a phrase, but keyword, phrase, keyword, phrase. And put that into our tool, and it'll tell you about how many people are searching for that keyword, or how many people are watching in a given month. The keyword is like chocolate cake, or keyword phrase in this particular instance. And it's the thing that your video is going to be about, kind of like a topic, but not quite, but it's the word that you're focusing on. And people will use keywords in tags, but keywords themselves are not tags. And I understand that's a little confusing. Just take my word for it here.
Makes sense to me.
You can use keywords and they can be tags, but they're not the same thing. It's the word about the thing.
When you say what tags are, it's very easy to understand the difference.
Yeah, once you understand the tags are just the thing that YouTube used to use once upon a time, and that's all, and they can be any kind of word in there, then it separates itself easier.
Yeah, tags are just for misspelling. Yeah, and you go on YouTube and it literally says, these are for misspellings.
Pretty much.
Like right above it when you go to enter them in. Yeah. YouTube said it for you.
Yep. Metadata, which also can be things like all the things we've just talked about.
This is all the information that goes into your video.
Description.
Everything your video is made of.
Keywords, all those things. All that is metadata, yeah. Hook.
Hook. The opening of your video, the first sentence or two that you say, what you're using to hook the viewer's attention.
Which should hook their attention. That's the specific part about it. It's not just the intro. It's like, I want you to watch more. I'm hooking you by saying the things that will make you want to watch this forever.
Yes. So typically we'll have like a hook and then an intro.
You better.
Your hook could also be your intro, though. You don't have to have both.
That is true.
You could have both.
Hopefully you have at least one of those. Otherwise, you're probably the same person who doesn't know what a thumbnail is. In which
that
case,
could be true.
It's the same person, I think. Packaging.
Oh, this is a good one because this is confusing to so many people.
Oh,
So many people.
do tell.
When we refer to packaging, we're talking about how you literally wrap up your video, meaning your title and thumbnail.
Yeah.
It's how you present your idea in your video. And that's exactly it. It's your title and thumbnail, the combination of the two together.
Yeah. And the inside of the package is your video.
Yes.
But before you get to that part, the only thing you can see before you watch a video is the title and thumbnail, which, much like a package, is the wrapping in the box. Right?
Yes.
Think of it that way. We're so good at this. Content buckets. Oh my goodness. I think we talked about this in a previous episode,
went
but it's
into
so
depth in a last episode about this,
So
and then also
brief-
the
yeah.
Discord stage
Yes.
that I did was, we started to really dive into content buckets. So we'll probably schedule another really in-depth workshop, which keep your eyes out for because we're all showing up for workshops on Discord now. But this is pretty much the we'll just say 3
Yep.
themes of content that's on your channel. 3 different types of videos.
So, for example, if you're a baking channel, it might be icing, it might be cake, and it might be pies. Like
Yeah.
that might be 3 different.
Those could be your 3 buckets.
Yep. And you'll do videos about those things.
Yep.
Where are we at there? Series.
Series.
And playlists are similar-ish.
Oh, I like that. They do tie together really
They
well.
do. Because a series should be in a playlist.
Agreed.
A playlist is an actual physical YouTube thing
Yes.
in which you put videos in.
Yes.
A series
Yes.
is...
It could be one of your buckets.
It absolutely should be, I would argue. Probably should have a series in your bucket.
Yeah.
Put it in your bucket.
It's just several of one type of video that are going to work together and strengthen the loving algorithm. Just kind of
we're trying to
butter
get
them
on
up
our
to
side.
surface them.
Listen, algorithm, we need to talk. Shorts. That is
Boo.
the favorite thing in Jen. We know that.
No, I'm really not that big of a shorts hater. I just like the reputation that
That it has.
that it's just taken on its own life.
Y'all know what the YouTube shorts are. If you don't know, again, you're the
YouTube
thumbnail
shorts.
person. You're definitely the thumbnail person. Community tab
Yes.
is the option on your front of your YouTube channel that you can communicate with your audience outside of videos.
Yes.
You can do polls, you can post pictures,
Yep.
all types of cool little things.
Yeah.
They used to have YouTube stories. I loved that.
I
that
did
didn't
not
last
like
long.
stories.
You know how
Really?
easy it was to get views and engagement on it? It was crazy. It was overpowered.
Yeah, but I didn't watch them as a viewer.
I think that's probably why they got rid of them.
Yeah.
But some people did. I actually really enjoyed it because I would do Q&As. It's kind of similar to what they had it on Instagram stories.
Yeah, no, I remember I used
That's
them.
what- yeah.
I just, as a viewer, never watched them ever.
I think that's probably why they ended up.
It's crazy.
All right, wrapping up here, features and monetization. So monetization is getting paid, the act of YouTube giving you the money.
Yeah. YouTube Partner Program, another acronym, YPP.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, you know me.
what I say that every time too.
Yeah. That is the program by which YouTube will pay you, right?
Yep, that's once you get monetized as a creator.
Mhm.
You can either earn ad money or the first tier, which is unlocked
Yeah, the
The-
500 subs and
the
whatever,
crowdfunding and yeah. So now
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have 2 tiers.
Yeah. Super chats and super stickers are ways that your viewers can pay to support you.
And super thanks.
Super thanks
super
now
thanks.
on regular videos.
Yep, where you can
see
leave
that.
almost like a tip in
It's
a
almost like a tip.
comment. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Membership's another way. So that's an ongoing monthly thing that you can pay for a viewer or as a viewer to your favorite creator. $5 or less or more for
Yeah, I
whatever.
think the starting thing is $1.99. Well, US.
You can do it. Whatever you want, and then make it higher. You can make it like $10 or $20,
Yeah.
or whatever, if you're that special. Merch shelf.
Yep.
Which is that
Under the
little thing.
video where
Yeah.
if you have a store through Shopify or
Mm-hmm.
whatever's linked to YouTube, you'll see that under a video where you can buy merch from that creator.
Yeah.
Or where you can see if that creator has merch.
Merch, which is merchandise, which is like shirts and
Boom.
and crap. Copyright claim versus copyright strike. These are actually really critical. Let's just real quick run through them though.
Give it to him again.
Copyright claim, someone's taking your money.
Yes.
But your video and your channel is not in trouble. Copyright
Yes.
strike, you only get 3 of those before they delete your channel. That's usually something egregious, like you just straight up stole something or you've done something against community
guidelines for
Very
sure.
bad. You will hear people use them interchangeable. They are not interchangeable.
The same. If you get a music claim,
it's okay.
You'll be all right. You're
gonna
just
be
not
fine.
earning the money.
You get a strike, it's a different story.
But it's scary. It's scary when you don't fully understand the difference. And you get your first copyright claim and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get kicked off of YouTube.
No, don't worry about it.
To go to YouTube school.
Copyright or content ID is what they use for copyright claims. It's an automatic system within YouTube. And retention spikes is those little spiky things in the little triangles. You'll see like little spikes in your retention graph, which we talked about earlier.
Yep.
And suggested video traffic is the watch next when you're on the watch page of YouTube.
Yeah.
So that I think we've done a bunch.
I think we've done so
much.
So many.
And here's the thing. If we have missed something, why don't you leave us a comment in the video or leave us an email, theboost@vidIQ.com, and maybe we'll do another one of these with any we might have missed.
Any that we missed. Hopefully this video is a 1 of 10.
It better be. Do you know what a 1 of 10 is? We didn't even say what that was.
Well, we didn't get through the list.
Well, we don't have 12 hours. So a 1 of 10 is what this video will be. It will be the top video of the last 10 we've actually produced. But we want to thank you for joining us. We can't wait to do this again.
I know. This is a lot. There's a lot.
Y'all have no idea. We've been here for 2 days.
There's a lot.
I'm not even joking. But we will see you in the next one.